You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 365 of Podketeers. This week we share our initial thoughts about the new Disney Plus series Loki and what we're hoping to see in the series. Disneyland lifts their mask mandate, Indiana Jones turns 40, and we share our favorite movie moments from the franchise. Plus, Larry checked out the Disneyland Archives exhibit at the Bowers Museum and he tells us about the experience. Make sure to check out the blog post at podketeers.com/365 to see some of the things that we talked about in the episode. Remember that you can also join the conversation and connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. But we'd love for you to join our growing community over on our Discord server. An invite to join will also be in the blog post for the episode. Again, that link is podketeers.com/365. Before we get this thing started, I'd like to take a moment to thank a very special group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content, access to our monthly happy hour calls. So if you would like more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. So I think it's time to get this thing started. So let's do it, shall we? Here is episode 365 of Podketeers. Oh yeah!
Woo.
Bum bum.
Oh, yeah. I just added the 80s. I'm doing, oh,
Yeah!
Remix.
Then just go off the rails.
The system is down. The system is down.
That's been
party.
our 5-second entourage of music. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, any Homestar Runner fans out there would understand that I absolutely love Homestar Runner, and that bit was inspired by Homestar Runner because Strong Bad is the man. And if you agree, join the conversation over on Discord or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. We'd love to hear if you are also a Homestar Runner fan. It's hot.
Yeah.
Caliente.
I don't like it. I'm not friendly with the heat. We are not one. However, we are one right now, and I'm very uncomfortable. This is a date I don't want to be on anymore. Can I call one of you and give you...
I'll text you over, to
come
get out of there.
Yes, that would be fantastic, because I don't like it anymore.
Heyzen, you're needed in a meeting urgently.
Perfect. Oh, no. Heat. I must go now. Andrew says he needs me in a meeting. This was fun. See you next year.
Yeah.
See you never.
And sadly, it's just beginning.
Yep.
And then cue the music. Do you linger? Do you linger?
And how I'm such a fool for you.
There you go. That was the time to use that voice, Heyzen, that you...
Nice.
BG/voice.
Nice. That is awesome. Well, I am in the process of trying to figure out exactly what I can do to compensate for the fact that I'm not drinking alcohol. And, one of the things I do miss about drinking are pina coladas. And I think I may have mentioned this on the podcast last year, but I found this drink called Waterloo, right? And
Waterloo.
yeah, and look, sparkling water isn't the tastiest, right?
Exactly.
It's water with bubbles and sometimes kind of salty tasting depending on what you're drinking, and then there's a hint of whatever it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Waterloo is exactly that, except that it doesn't taste, at least to me, it doesn't taste as horrible as some of the other ones that are out there.
That's the bar.
I've tasted Spindrift and I've tasted all sorts of them, right? Hashtag not sponsored by any of these companies, by the way. But I really like this one, and I like some of the new flavors that they brought out for the summer. They got like this pineapple one, this orange one. I forgot what else is in the box. But I've been drinking a lot of coconut water, and I thought to myself, you know what? I miss pina colada so much. What if I take this pineapple Waterloo and mix it in with some coconut water? And it'll taste just like a pina colada. So
Genius.
I went, and man, I was happy. I got the drinks, and I'm mixing them up in the cups, and I'm all like, woo! Here we go. And I tasted it. It was horrible.
TikTok hack for all y'all out there.
Yo, this was worse than the TikTok hack. I mean,
exactly.
This was bottom of the barrel, 3 a.m., and people are like, guess what we're mixing right now? It's 3 a.m., but here's a hack for you.
So good reference. It
This is
tasted
all
like
we
the
have
bottom of the barrel,
left.
probably.
Yeah, kind of. It wasn't tasty at all. You know, pina colada has that very sweet taste to it, and then the rum just kind of like picks up the flavor. Organic coconut water does not have any of those elements. And when you combine it with a sparkling water...
Ouch.
Oh, your face.
Yeah, disappointment.
Your face.
anger, angst.
disappointed.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what I should do?
Oh.
Maybe I should get one of the orange ones and
You
get some
want-
vanilla ice cream. Or maybe even the pineapple one and see what I can make happen. But after this experiment, I'm almost positive that I won't be doing that again because, quite frankly, I'm heartbroken.
We can't leave without saying, if you like pina coladas. We've hit it like song in every segment for the moment. You cannot leave that one without.
Then don't make this mix.
Don't make this mix.
Because
Yeah.
you will be disappointed.
And maybe have diarrhea in the mix.
You might. I won't vouch for that. I can't tell you, but I don't know. You might. Who knows? Either way, it was not a happy mixture. I am not for it, and I won't be doing it again. So, still working on a replacement for that at this point. But, you know, it is what it is.
We're staying tuned.
Yeah. Hey, so tons of news coming from the parks this week. Larry had an adventure this week that I totally want to hear about. Indiana Jones is celebrating its 40th anniversary. So much to talk about. I mean, where do you guys want to start? Oh, can we start with Loki?
Sure.
Can we start with Loki? Because, oh, hot damn. Look,
Yep.
we said it before. We said it with WandaVision. We said it with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I'm going to say it again with Loki. Each one of these has been so unique in the storytelling process. But, man, it is so cohesive to the MCU, and it works so well. Thoughts?
Just the effects. Just that's the way that they handle things is just like, whoa. It's pretty cool. I don't want to spoil anything, so that's what I'm going to say is just that alone. It's pretty awesome.
I'll spoil one thing, and there was not one wow in the whole episode.
I know.
It made me so
I did wait for that.
sad.
I'm kind of disappointed about that because I had my notepad. I'm like, yep, here
Right?
we go. Let's do this. And
It'll be
then,
the final episode. They were like, oh, this is where we put it in.
well, I saw it, and then I thought, oh, well, maybe I was just so entrenched in the storytelling that I didn't hear it, you know? Like, sometimes it just passes you by, and I'm like, all right,
It's true.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to start paying attention. I might even transcribe this with, like, Google or something. No, there was no wows, and he got me
Nope.
right here.
And there's plenty of opportunities for wows.
Yeah.
There
I would
was.
say so.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was fantastic. We had a great time watching it. It was great.
So imagine at the end of the season, we're going to get a bunch of bloopers, and all we're going to see are wows from the blooper
Yes,
reel. It's
the
just gonna
Zemo
be like,
cut.
all right, Loki, so tell me a little bit about how you came to be. And, oh, wow, I really messed up that line. Let's go again. The whole thing is going to be that. Favorite part of the episode so far? Or favorite part of the
Minutes?
series? Oh, Miss Minutes.
Miss
Yeah.
Minutes is a big
I
Yeah.
love
part
it.
of this.
I love
I
it,
called
yeah.
that last week. I mentioned it real quick. If you would have caught listening, I thought, you know, it's not it's interesting she was on the poster, and I think that's what kind of the trailer poster and the show to see what this was going to be about, and just overall value of the part Miss Minute plays is just so worth it. Without rooting too much, I think mine overall, what I loved about it is that what they've done a little bit in each of these Marvel shows on Disney Plus, the comedy to seriousness, to storyline, and then also to action is well balanced. And I loved every second of it. And the story, I mean, Heyzen, you're nailing it. The storyline follows that comic book universe of Marvel and also gives you this, like, wait a sec, is this that, or is something else happening? You're watching the first episode. I don't know if it's the same questions as climax as WandaVision was, but the interest level is there. And from what I could see online, just looking up social media, I think a lot of people are excited about being in this literally this unknown realm of the show.
Yeah.
No, that's really well put, because it's interesting to me how they're pulling stories from the Marvel comics for these series, right? Because when you think about the timeline in the comics, they don't seem to be tied in. However, the way that they're writing for these shows is mixing them in so well.
Yes.
And I mean, this episode does a really good job of explaining a couple of the biggest mysteries surrounding Loki from the Infinity Saga, right? We saw Loki in several of the films. Towards the end, we kind of see him disappear with the Tesseract, and you get answers to a lot of stuff that were just kind of left up in the dark. Now, whether or not this was planned from that moment, I mean, obviously, nobody's going to say, right? They're not going to say one way or another. And if it wasn't, they're just going to be like, yeah, totally. We totally did.
Credits.
We knew that, right? 2011. We knew that
Right?
then, yeah.
Yeah, after Iron Man 2, we totally knew where this whole thing was going.
We had it all.
Total Kevin Feige. Total Feige.
Right? But, yeah, I mean, they're doing such a fantastic job. I think the TVA, the organization... Should I give away the name? Like, has that been announced?
It's on like all the commercials and
Okay,
stuff.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, it's
So,
even in the park, if you think about it. They changed Loki's character.
I'm
at the
glad
park.
you mentioned that. Because I want to bring that up as well. But the TVA itself is an entity that wasn't introduced until the 1980s in Marvel Comics, right? So it's kind of new in comparison to a lot of these other characters and a lot of the other storylines that we're seeing. If WandaVision pans out to House of M in Phase 4, that's also a fairly new comic series. So it's kind of nice that they're pulling from some of these newer stories and graphic novels that some people grew up reading. And I'm just super excited to where this is going to take us, not just for Loki, but for every other film and series that we're going to be getting that's tied into this universe. Now, Avengers Campus... We recently talked about how it just opened, and I always wondered how much the land would meld with the Disney Plus universe of the MCU, right? And Larry, you're right. This week, Loki was brought out, but he was brought out in what he's wearing on the series now.
So cool.
Now, I have to ask, though, what do you guys think about them doing that so quickly? And if people went to Avengers Campus and saw that version of Loki but hadn't watched the first episode, do you think it spoiled a bunch for them? Or do you think it put them in a space where they might think, I gotta go watch Loki now?
Yeah, I think it's more of a like, hey, what's going on with that? Because there's not really like a spoiling. I mean, he's, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, if I'm going to say some stuff, he's in a jumpsuit, and if you didn't know that, you might see him over there and be like, there's a guy in a jumpsuit over there, like, and not even know it's Loki, because other than that, he's not a very remarkable looking person. He's just got black hair and he has that collar thing on, but you might not even recognize him as Loki unless you've seen the show. So it might, depending on whatever, it might not even spoil anything if you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
Might be a callback where you're like, that's what that is.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
That is true. Well, I'm certainly excited. The first episode, when it ended, left off on a pretty decent cliffhanger where
Oh yeah.
we're going to figure out, where this story. I mean, we kind of know where the story goes, right? It's not like it's a big secret. You can piece one and one together to kind of figure out where the story is going to go. Otherwise, if certain things don't pan out the way that you think they're going to, the series is over. Let's move on to Black Widow at this point, or whatever else is next.
Well, and it has to pan out the way we know it does because all these other films have happened already. So,
Very true.
That has to he has to be successful in some degree, or somebody is successful in some degree.
Yeah.
For the rest of the films to make sense.
Now that's actually interesting because I don't remember catching where in the timeline this exactly takes place. Like, did they mention how many years after? Is it a year after Infinity? I'm sorry, Endgame?
2012.
It happens when he takes the Tesseract.
Yes. So it's
and then he's gone back in Avengers
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's
technically Endgame hasn't happened yet.
No.
Correct, because that's in... Okay, big spoilers ahead.
No.
Everybody's here to watch this, but big spoilers ahead. I'm going to say something. When he's watching back his whole life in that section.
Ah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Okay.
He sees stuff that he hasn't experienced yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was going to say a couple other parts, but yes, you are absolutely correct. Okay. Wow, okay. So Loki takes place between Infinity War and Endgame. WandaVision takes place several years after.
Mm-hmm.
And then Falcon and Winter Soldier is almost running parallel to the end of the WandaVision storyline and kind of running on its own because it's after... Or is it happening right before WandaVision?
It's I believe it's
right before, right? Because I don't
Um,
think there was a mention of Wanda in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No.
So it might
There
be
wasn't.
happening right before WandaVision then.
That's almost parallel. Maybe I'm wrong here, but
I thought WandaVision was right after Endgame.
yeah. If you look on Disney Plus, just a little heads up, they have this cool feature. If you go to the Marvel top page, like where you could select what like things you want to watch, either like Disney or Marvel or Star Wars, and you scroll down the Disney Plus listing of like how they have them categories, they have them in order of what the show should be.
You're right.
If
the
you want to watch the
chronological
movie,
list.
like, yes. So, and it puts it after WandaVision, if I remember. Winter Soldier is what I'm referencing
So I
to.
just
Okay.
Googled it. Thank you, Internet. They both take place in 2023.
So,
It doesn't say
okay.
exactly the month, but yeah, it's basically the same. Around
It's like
the
the
same,
same.
time.
It's like
Yeah.
right.
It
very
has to
close
be
each
months
other.
apart because I'm looking at the timeline order. You're right, Larry. I completely forgot about that.
It's a good little trick.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the timeline order. So it's Infinity War, Endgame, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Loki hasn't been inserted yet.
And they're not going to
But-
put that in there yet.
Well, not yet,
No.
obviously, because they don't want to give it away, right? But
Right.
Well, yeah.
judging by what you guys were saying, you're absolutely correct, because if he just disappeared with the Tesseract, and that's the story they're telling, we know that it fits right between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Okay, cool. Mystery
And also,
solved.
another wrench. It's everything has to deal with time, so who knows when it takes
That's
place.
what I was gonna
Every
say. Yeah.
episode is
Good
going to
point,
be
Andrew.
in a different.
That's a
Yeah,
hard
it's-
thing to lay down at the end. How does it end? So, teaser there.
It's going to be nuts.
You know what would be crazy if they somehow ended up incorporating elements of WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier into this series to give us a sense of kind of where and how they're jumping back and forth. And I wouldn't even put it past them if at some point in the series we see a little bit of footage that might be included in Doctor Strange, in the multiverse movie that's coming up, or in not Homecoming. Was it Homecoming? No. What was the Spider-Man film?
Far From Home?
Far From Home.
Or-
Yes, Far From Home. Because in Far From Home, that's when they were talking about all the witches and why things were happening. And now we know Wanda, Doctor Strange, I don't know. I kind of feel like we're going to see inklings of those things. And if we even saw footage, that would be awesome.
Can I make a prediction of what I think?
Yes.
I think we're going to see the Black Widow in here. I do. Call me crazy, but there's like, I rewatched the trailer after watching the first episode, and I slowed down a couple parts of the trailer because now, once again, we're still on the spoiler train here. We know he's jumping through time and different elements, right? So there's a part where I saw on there where I swore it could have been Black Widow in some maybe different realm of timeline. I'm not too sure, but that's something I think we might see in the show. I don't know. That's just me.
I wouldn't put it past them, especially considering that we have the Black Widow film coming up. It would be a really great way to introduce or reintroduce the character. Not that Natasha needs to be reintroduced, right? She's been such a staple of,
But if these are gonna tie in,
Yeah.
oh, dude, I'm like so excited. I got like that in my head, seeing Doctor Strange stuff. I mean, imagine at some point, because he's jumping through time and one of the other timelines, he sees Miles Morales tagging a part of what we currently see on Avengers campus, or maybe he sees Gwen. My brain is just like, like all over.
Spider-Ham is there. I'll bring Spider-Ham up.
Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham. I want a sandwich now. Is that bad to say? I'm sorry. That was inappropriate after talking about Spider-Ham. So, Loki, if you haven't seen it, we definitely recommend it. If you haven't caught up with any of the series on Disney Plus, man, Marvel is just knocking it out of the park with these series. I'm so excited for Loki. I saw that a bunch of people got a lot of really cool TVA swag recently.
Really?
Disney, I think you messed up on the address or something, or maybe it was sent to the wrong place. No worries. Just get in contact with me. I'll tell you where to send it. I mean, you can send the one for all four of us to the same address. I'll just give it to the team after. It's not a big deal. But
is that what this crate I got says Podketeers?
Oh, did it get sent to
and
you?
There's a big TVA logo.
That's
on
what
the
it
side.
is, man.
I hadn't opened it.
Damn it, Andrew.
Surprise!
I saw it,
and I shipped it back.
I brought it in, and then it's sitting here, but then, no.
Yeah, I totally wish. They had a lot of really cool swag. They had like a jacket. They had a couple of missed minutes items inside, notepads, and also like a really cool pen that was a part of it. I like the TVA logo. I like the time that it's kind of set in. Like it gives you that sense of being old without feeling ancient, and considering what the group represents, you would figure that it was going to be some like weird Stonehenge thing, and it wasn't, so I kind of dig that about it. So, all right. I can't say enough good things about Loki. I'm so excited. Waiting for episode 2. It launches the day that this episode is out. There isn't an accident as to why they decided Wednesdays are a day to launch Loki. They knew that's the day Podketeers launches. They're like, that is the prime day to launch stuff. We're going to do the same thing. And they called me and they were like, Heyzen, are you cool with this? And I'm like, Kev, no worries, bro. Do it.
Oh, you're on a Kev basis with him. I didn't.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, just sometimes, just sometimes.
Okay.
But...
Okay.
All right. So there's so much more that I want to talk about. The mask thing that's happening this week. The day after we're recording this, masks are officially not needed at Disneyland. I don't want to get too much into this. We've talked about the masks a lot recently. Anyone have any initial quick thoughts on the whole mask mandate being lifted?
Yeah, sooner than I expected. I know a couple episodes ago I said, oh yeah, it's going to be months and months until this happens. So, yeah, but also remember, it's anybody listening, spread the word. It's only for vaccinated people that are supposed to not wear, that are allowed to not wear a mask. I know they're not checking, but if you're not vaccinated, please continue to wear a mask. Yeah. If you are vaccinated, wear a mask. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you feel okay to go out there. Keep doing what you're doing. If if you feel better with the mask, go for it. I'm still kind of teetering, not gonna lie. So we'll see how things are, and if things are awesome, sweet, then a little bit of calmness enters into my life, just a little bit more. But yeah, a little quick.
It came
Really
out of left
quick.
field. Was not expecting
Yeah.
it today.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty open about how I feel about the whole thing, right? I don't want to get into a 15-minute talk about it again, but, I don't feel comfortable removing my mask yet. I'm in a percentage of people that is at higher risk. Even after the vaccine, the efficacy rate doesn't put me in a very high percentile of people that are fully covered and fully vaccinated against COVID. So I'm erring on the side of caution. If you know people that have decided that they are going to continue wearing their masks the way that I have decided I'm going to, and you've decided that you're not going to, all I'm going to say is, remember that we're all people. Unless you're one of those people that hasn't gotten vaccinated and you are purposely deciding to spread stuff, that's a different story. But if you fall into the segment of people fully vaccinated, you're comfortable taking your mask off, or people that are vaccinated are still wearing their masks, just be kind to each other. That's the primary thing. If you're going to the park, you're going because you need something that's been missing in your life. Don't go and ruin somebody's day because they don't happen to agree with you on something. Even the people that I know for a fact haven't been vaccinated and are walking around without a mask because they don't believe in it, I may not agree with them, but all I'm doing is I'm keeping my distance from those people. I just try to stay away. So do the same, be kind to one another, and let's do our best to work together to make it an enjoyable day, no matter when you go back to the parks.
And always be kind to cast members.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yes.
You know, Jason came on here
Yes.
a while back with the Walt Disney World update, which they were kind of on this timeline, right? And I just want to harp again, if you go back to that episode that we had where he came on and talked about Disney World and how they were moving forward, main key he bring up a lot was like, think about your fellow people, cast members there. Like, that's the best way to say thank you. If you can,
Yep.
It's like being safe. They make sure you get on the ride safe. They make sure you're safe in the park. They make sure your food's safe. Put on a mask. It's like a nice way of saying thank you.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful way to make the Mickey-shaped heart and be like, I love you, CMs. I love you. Because we do.
We do.
Exactly.
All right. So, where do you want to go to next? Because there's two things that I really wanted to talk about before this podcast ends at some point. Indy turning 40, and Larry, you had an opportunity to go to the Bowers Museum to see the Disney Archives exhibit. I wanted to go to this thing all year. And then, things happened, things didn't happen, things happened, things got rearranged, things got moved, things got reopened, things got closed, and so on and so forth. But you had an opportunity to go. Where do we want to go? Do we want to go to Adventureland or do we want to go to Santa Ana?
Adventureland.
Adventureland. I mean, that's like a no
is.
I was
question.
like, what?
That's the only way you could play that music without license.
That was awesome.
Unless it was close enough. And then we uploaded to YouTube, and they were like,
I'll go
no,
on a
look,
limb and say it was distinctive.
Disney is claiming this for copyright, like a bunch of other of our other videos. So
That would be a blessing.
I'm
in disguise.
familiar with it. Indiana Jones turns 40. Mel, let's start with you. You and Andrew are two of the biggest Indiana Jones fans that I know.
Where to start? I'm just thinking back on the movie, and you know how we were just talking on the chat, how we were talking about maybe think of like a scene that came up, and I can't think of just one scene. The entire movie is just amazing, but I love what it's brought to Disneyland, and the fact that we could live on the adventure and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just like, can't believe it's 40. It's like, oh, it's creeping up, but yeah, I couldn't pick a scene, but I want to say that's my favorite one out of the whole, let's say 4 films. We don't count 4, we'll count 5, but all right.
What if my favorite part was from Crystal Skull?
How dare you?
Their treasure was knowledge.
That's awesome. So you can't choose a scene. Are you going to pull a me on this one?
bad
The
beats.
only one I could think of, only because it really reminds me of inside the Hall of Promise before you see Mara's big face. When Indy has the Eye of Ra, and he's looking to see where exactly to look for the ark, and that music that just starts is exactly where it takes you in front of Mara's face.
That's
It's
awesome.
very fun to watch the movie, like after
Yeah.
being on the attraction for so many times, and then you hear the music and you're like, this is that, this is that. It's all pulled straight from the films, and
yeah.
it's just like, oh, that's what that is in the movie. I forgot. Haven't watched the movie in a while, but I've been on the ride.
Larry, what about you?
You know, for me, Indiana Jones, I don't pick specific scenes. I like introductions of characters, introductions of Sala, introductions of
My friend.
Indiana Jones' dad. Yeah, those are my
Sala?
two favorite. Yeah,
Is that you?
What was
My
that?
friend, my friends at Podketeers. This is Sala. Hello.
There's our introduction of Sala. Nice, Andrew. It's for me. It's always that. It's always the character introduction. Even oh gosh, I forget his name right now. But you know, Dr. Jones.
Short
Yeah.
round.
Yeah.
Short round. There
Yeah.
it is. Nice pull. And you know, I love I guess my worst impression, Junior. You know,
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Dad. So there you go.
That is awesome.
My journal. I mailed you the journal so they couldn't have it, and you brought it here. I cannot do a Sean Connery. What time does Sean Connery go to Wimbledon?
Oh, I don't know. Where in? Tell me.
10ish.
Ah.
10ish.
I'm gonna have to add a rim shot sound effect for that one. I think mine is a little bit of a love-hate relationship with it because in Raiders, obviously, he falls into the pit with a bunch of snakes. So, snakes. Why does it always have to be snakes? Talk about bad impressions, Larry. There you go. I'm not huge on snakes. I mean, if you have one, I can be around it and everything, but they're not particularly my favorite pet or anything like that. So when he falls into that pit, I'm like, yep, I'm done. Fast forward, we're good.
That's just my pet snake, Reggie.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of
But-
Reggie. I don't care how
If
cool
it
Jock
makes you-
Lindsay is, but you know,
If it makes you feel a little bit better, they're not venomous. So
I
you're
don't
good.
care.
I mean, Indiana
just
Jones
saying.
throws Jock Lindsay's pet snake out of his plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty intense beginning, right? It's so good.
Which led
The-
Jock Lindsay straight into the arms of the SCA.
Yep.
I think my favorite snake scene though is, you know, when he's getting into that quicksand and then how do you say her name?
Marion?
Marion throws him the snake to
Ah.
try to get out, and he's all, anything else? That's my favorite snake scene from Indiana Jones.
That's funny. Yeah.
I like in Temple of Doom when when he's gonna get crushed when they're in the chamber and Willie's outside. And there's spiders in the thing, and we are going to die. And then, like
Your
the
face
spider
for that
is
one.
coming
Front.
down
Yeah.
on his hat.
So good.
That's so good. Well, if you have a favorite scene from any Indiana Jones film, yes, even Crystal Skull, join the conversation over on Discord or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers. We'd love to know what your favorite scene is.
Maybe it's in the new one.
That's
Maybe
what I
it
was
is
about
in
to
the new
say.
one, yeah.
Maybe it's in the new one.
Who
We
knows?
have seen Harrison Ford donning the fedora once again.
In Scotland, they're filming.
Yeah, speaking of Scotland, you got a whole Sean Connery thing and everything. That's cool. Tie back.
Yeah,
Isn't he from
yeah.
Ireland?
Scotland. Well,
Or
he's Scotland.
he's
We just said
Scottish, right?
Scotland.
Yeah, he said Scottish. Oh, Jesus. All right, I need caffeine. I don't care how late it is. I need caffeine.
This is the Podketeers intermission.
We'll play the TBA
Heyzen
music in
gets
the
the-
background.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be cool.
Hi, y'all. It's Miss Minutes.
So, attraction-wise, Mel, did you ever get a chance to work Indiana Jones when you were a cast member?
No.
What?
I would love to.
All right, I'm gonna make
it's
up
like
a story.
one of those spots where it's hard to get into.
I'm gonna make up a story. I'm like, when I
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
those great
cast member,
pants.
I worked the Jungle Cruise. Later that evening, they were like, Heyzen, we need you over on Indy. And I was like, okay. And then I went to Indy. Then they were like, it's really dark. We need somebody at Haunted Mansion. You need to go to Haunted Mansion. And then I went to Haunted Mansion. And then I went home. End of story. Best
That's a
night
lot of costume
ever.
changes.
Best
Yeah,
night ever.
Nice.
Breaks. Lots of breaks. I have an Indiana Jones story from, I think we went when I was kids. It was open for like 8 months at that time, almost 6 at that time.
Okay.
It's not that great, though, once again. Okay, so I went on a family trip. We went with our cousins, and they were doing the whole queue at that time where you could go through the queue. And when we went through each part, that was one of the coolest things. But they were handing out, which one thing I think we all can relate on is those decoder cards.
Yeah.
If originally, and I wish I would have kept that, because now I look at it and it's like, gosh, it's such a big deal. But at the time, I remember going through each part of the queue. Back then, they walked you through like each part. The thing was full. It was over as now, like over an hour wait. But you went through the temple, and you could like look through the codings and actually try to figure out what they were. Did with the family. And then we get to the part where they give you the rundown on the ride about how you'll be strapped in. And then I could see my younger cousin starting to like get a little scared. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, this is not happening. My cousin was maybe 2 years younger than me at that time. We were like, had the time birthdays, but it was like really a year. But in overall time, it's 2 years. So he just had that time. It was like a year. But I could see he was getting afraid. So we get all the way to the stairs down, and we're about to be loaded, and he bails out of the ride in fear, and I'm like clipping in, and then he goes, Larry, come with me. And I'm like, at that moment I had to make a decision as a kid. And I'll be honest, I chose the ride. I was clipping in.
Good
and my
for
mom
you.
goes, my mom
job.
goes, you unclip that and you go with your cousin.
No.
Didn't ride the ride. Didn't ride it, but you know, it's okay. I walked him out of the Temple of Doom and
Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
The Forbidden Eye,
Excuse
my
yourself.
It's
apologies.
okay. We'll forgive you.
It felt like Doom that day. It felt like Doom.
Good save. Good save. Oh man, that is a
So
horrible
don't feel
story.
bad, Andrew. Once again, we were talking about this a long time ago, Andrew. You said most of the rides scare you. There's one right there. There's one there.
It scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid.
There you go.
I was the wimpiest kid. I'm still very, very wimpy, but not as wimpy as I was as a kid. But yeah, it's Indy's fantastic. I had a great Melissa was there after a D23. I think it was the first D23 I dressed up as Sala. We went over to the parks, and then the cast member brought me up to the projection room, brought me up to the front of the thing, and I was reciting Sala's spiel to everybody in line.
Awesome.
I think we have a photo.
There's a photo. We'll
There
have
is.
to find it.
Yeah.
Stick it
He
somewhere.
He was like in action.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. I love that.
So that was real fun.
That's so cool. I mean, look, Larry. Next time, when you have to go back in time using the TVA services, what I think you should do is you should point out the Eeyore hidden on the attraction, because then your cousin would have been like, "Oh, Eeyore's here. This is nice and docile. I'm gonna be okay."
He might not have even looked at the screen. That's what I'm thinking. He might have just turned the other way.
Yeah. See?
Never looked at the screen.
So there you go. There's a tip for anybody that's going to ride the attraction. And if you're with somebody that's getting really scared, when you get to that room, turn them around and be like, "Look, there's an Eeyore hidden up there." And then they can look for Eeyore, and they'll be so preoccupied trying to find Eeyore that you'll get on the attraction. I mean, it's quite far away from there, but still, you can keep talking them through where Eeyore was.
It's not as dark anymore.
It's not as
Lights up
dark
a little bit
anymore.
more.
Yeah. And then by the time you're on the attraction, be like, let's talk about this once we're on this nice little tour. Don't worry about it. It's a nice little dark ride. Think of it as it's a small world. And then you go through it. And then at that point, you can't do anything about it. I mean, they're
One
on
of the
it.
characters has a Mickey hat on.
Yeah,
It's
it's
great.
true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's true.
It's true. Very true.
I mean, how can you fight against that? So there it is. What are they doing in the park for the 40th? For the 40th, I haven't seen anything regarding it.
Nothing
Yeah,
as
I think
usual.
it fell. I mean, it fell right on top of Avengers Campus
Yeah, it did.
opening. So, and it's a very, very underutilized property and under merchandised property. I feel like they could sell so much merchandise by just slapping on a Mara face on it, because I would buy it. Anything is Solid Tours logo on it, I'd buy it. But yeah, it's very underappreciated, and it's a fantastic franchise, and hopefully this new film is fantastic, and then we can get more Indiana Jones things.
Yeah. Well, I know that Shop Disney had a limited release of several items, including the fertility idol, which was
$120.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite pricey. I think Mel asked a good question. Does it weigh as much as the one in the film does? Because if that's the case, just take a little baggie full of sand and do a quick swap out.
Uh-huh.
Easy peasy.
I'm
There
not
you go.
saying you should shoplift this, people. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sheesh. But, I mean, it's a pretty hefty price for a little idol. I don't know if it's made out of anything gold. It looks like it's just kind of spray painted, or it's gold-looking plastic. But I didn't read more on the description. So
I know one person I follow on Twitter got it, so we'll have to see if they post anything about it once they
right
receive
on.
it, because that'll be interesting to know if it's metal, if it's plastic, if it's the size. Like, is it actual size? Is it a mini guy, like, Funko size idol?
we could also just go to the post on shopdisney.com and verify if any of this information is in there. But I'll tell you what, that takes a lot of time.
That's like, we should let other people do that.
Right?
Where's our team? We need a team
Right?
that does this.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I tried to go to the pre-order page, and I think it's officially down the way that the Castle Funko was after they ran out of pre-order spots. So,
Wow.
if you try to go currently, you see the Ralph, page not found.
Oh,
So, we'll see. So so it'll be good to see once people begin posting about it, because I am curious to know if it was metal or plastic, and if it was worth that $130 price tag, because that's a whole sandwich, man.
That's a sandwich and
Less
candy
tax.
bar.
Choco bars, right?
Yeah.
No.
Like, you can't. You
But
need that choco
yeah.
smash.
Speaking of indie merch, if anybody got that, has an extra one of those Indiana Jones fanny packs that they were selling in the backlot store when that was going on, send one of those my way. It's ridiculous, and I'm never going to wear it, but I want it anyway.
You could wear it across your chest the way that the kids are doing these days.
I know.
Oh,
Super
yeah, like
cool.
an Indiana Jones satchel.
That's right. I mean, it makes sense.
It was so weird. This fanny pack had Marabic on the front, and it just said A, B, C, D, E.
Oh, that's right.
That's it.
was yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It had other logos and stuff on it, but in Marabic, it didn't say, like, anything. It just was letters. Like, somebody screwed up. Maybe that's why it's not around anymore, because they realized they misprinted something.
Nobody's going to ever read that. Just copy and paste the first
Right.
5 letters. That's funny. All right. Well, I want to talk about the Bowers Museum. Super excited to hear about that.
Woohoo!
Before we do, though, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by a fantastic group of listeners known as the FGP Squad. That's what they have decided to call themselves because it's easier to hashtag. But we've always called them our podcast Fairy Godparents. And it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers happen. Now, if you want more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, you can head over to podketeers.com/FGP for more information. There you'll find a little bit of info on what it is, our top contributors, why you should sign up, because, I mean, look, spoiler alert, you get some perks that come along with it. You get access to our monthly happy hour calls, discounts on new merch, you get giveaways, and all sorts of cool stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. But to all of the members of the FGP Squad, we just want to send a huge thank you for all of your continued support. Again, podketeers.com/FGP if you're interested in joining the FGP family. All right, Larry, let's hear about this Bowers Museum thing because, nice.
Sorry, a party just started right now.
Look at that. All right. Like it. Light switch rave going on over there. Okay.
Andrew just had a rave switch for all of you.
Yeah,
and
all
he
right.
kicked it
Andrew
back
with the
on.
light switch rave. Here we go.
This is when we should have cued our intro music earlier.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sound like you're doing that. You're the man now, dog.
No. I should have been doing that. No, I'm just a big Strong Bad fan. It's a big Homestar Runner reference. So, I'll put a video in the blog post for the episode if you want to watch it. Podketeers.com/365. It's super old, but I like it, so,
Back in my day, we used to watch Flash videos
That's right, we did.
on Internet Explorer.
We used to have to wait for our internet to connect. It made all sorts of sounds.
I think you started doing the car alarm sound.
Slash AOL login.
People are like, what are we listening to right now?
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about the Bowers Museum, Larry.
That's right.
All right, let's do this. Tell us about the exhibit.
Just a heads up for background, if people are still interested in it, it does have one more running week here, but it does close on the 20th. So, and everything I say here, if you listen to it in time, hopefully you got to go check it out. It's the first thing I told the group when I shared like some small snippets of video. If you liked the show Prop Masters, right? Is that
Culture.
Culture?
Prop
I know I messed
culture.
prop
okay.
culture. My bad. You will love this exhibit. There's not only is there pieces from those episodes, like the carpet bag from Mary Poppins, very cool. You also have things like from the Roger Rabbit, the full on, and surprisingly, the Tron stuff is. I'm a huge Tron, like Melissa over here, fan of Tron, and it wasn't the biggest selling point to me. And to give you a heads up, more of the exhibit, it starts off as, well, first thing you're walking into, you see Walt's old desk and his office setup, which is so cool. Just seeing it, and like a small snippet, I didn't realize how small the chairs are. Like literally, we're talking small. I was like, that's like one of those things you realize the time periods have changed. And I was like, wow, it really brings a lot of depth to that, which is just a weird little fact. But then you roll into like old animation desk from animators. For a call out to you, Heyzen, you see the storybook parts of when they were doing Steamboat Willie. Aww. You see the original artwork. So awesome on display. You see some of the Disney Studios information they had, like offer menu, which I took video of. Like you could buy food from their whatever restaurant they had there at Walt Disney Studios for like cast members or whatnot, right? And like everything was like under $1, which blew my mind. But it was so funny because even the menu had touches of the animation, like Figaro on there and stuff like that.
Aww.
Pinocchio, so cool. And this is like history. And then you get into props, like you see Elsa's full-on get-up, like if she was, from the cast members when you see them at the park when they have that, to like movies, which I just mentioned. And my favorite pieces, by far, which I didn't know were in there, Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie, they had the compass Jack Sparrow uses on display, and the dead man's chest with the heart in it. And it was so cool, so awesome. Also, Herbie's there. And another surprising thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, just there's so much. It's a large display.
Did they have a jar of dirt?
That would have been awesome.
I've got a jar of dirt.
I've got a jar of dirt. Yeah, the last part, you see some of the Disney Legends bronze. I don't know, like the stamp-ins, like kind of they do in Hollywood. Imprints. And my favorite, they had Robin Williams there, which was really cool. But they have other legends on there as well, which I don't want to spoil it all. But yes, it is a Disney artifact, and I found out some interesting things that the Disney Archives has that aren't really like Disney Studios. Like they had Edward Scissorhands display up there. Which
That's
is
all the
kinda
new
cool,
acquisitions from Fox.
Fox, right?
By the way, Edward Scissorhands, one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's cool.
Yeah.
There's so many little perks you get in there where you're like, wow. I think Tron would have been more bigger for me because I've always seen it in the realm of the grid. And so when I seen it like as a prop, I loved it, but I was already falling in love with like the Pirates thing got me because I was like, I had no clue. That compass is like such a cool part of the movie line of Pirates of the Caribbean. And the dead man's chest is like, I could, what's creepy? I could hear the music in my head when I saw the stuff there, like the organ from, from the scene, just like, bum, bum, bum. And I was like, It like went over. It was so cool. And there's other cool stuff from leftover time at the Disney parks. Like they have displays of some of the name tags from cast members past the years, not including some of the creepier stuffed animal dolls that used to be at Disney, but are cool for history.
Did they have the first ticket there? I know that usually gets touted around.
That's one little
Roy's
thing in there
ticket.
that gets put in there, and it was there, and that was very cool to see too. And it's a big crowd pleaser.
So there
That's
was,
awesome.
I don't know if you remember, but 2 different D23 expos, they had a couple of different exhibits for the Walt Disney Archives. Like the ticket, I have a photo of it from, I want to say it was the 2015 expo.
Yeah,
And
sounds
then
about right.
I think in the 2017 expo, they also had the costumes and everything as part of the archive exhibit, where they had a lot of those costumes on display. Was there anything that you saw in the Bowers exhibit that you don't remember? I know it's pretty far back, but is there anything that really stands out as, oh, this was from that exhibit, and oh, this wasn't a part of that exhibit?
I wish I could talk on this, but this is D23 was one that I missed out on because I was still in Northern California at the time, living out there, so I wasn't able to compare to it.
Okay.
No excuse. No excuse.
Nah, my Disney side's not as strong. Well, Wilson's there. I don't know if he was. I don't think if he would have been a part of it. Was he there in one of the original? Wilson, the ball,
volleyball?
Yeah,
Wilson!
Oh.
he was at the. I could just take a gamble that he wouldn't have been available.
Wilson, I'm sorry.
That's true. Well, I guess you're right. The Edward Scissorhands and some of the other stuff wasn't a part of the other expos as well. Considering
Did they have any attraction stuff? I know I saw some photos of like hitchhiking ghosts and wrecks and
Nailed
stuff
it.
like that. Do they have some of that stuff there
Yes,
still? Okay.
the hitchhiking ghost. They have a large display of the hitchhiking ghost with like the banner in the back, the like full scale looking. And then they also had a few tombstones in front of them, which was super cool. I'll be posting a full video later this week on my Instagram through IGTV, and then also on my YouTube channel at Goofy Guys Adventures if you guys want to see the whole thing. That has a lot more descriptions of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll also put that video in the blog post for the episode. So podketeers.com/365. You can head over to Larry's channel and subscribe to his channel as well.
Did they have a full alien? I'm feeling an alien.
Yeah, you nailed it too. There was a full alien from the Alien movie series. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is going on Hulu, so.
I'm telling you, there's
Or
things
is
there
that
that you
Predator?
wouldn't have. Predator.
Oh, it's
I
Predator,
think.
right? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember which one of those was coming back, but
And not alone like the Bowers, like just to like go outside of it. It's a very nice complex if you've never been. Something I'd never experienced out here. And it was just really nice grounds. I mean, it was nice to be out there, kind of just the outside part. They have a nice little cafe there where they were selling Dole Whips, which was kind of cool. And in a tiki cup if you wanted it like that. I don't know. I
Nice.
guess another shot at did they have the prop books from Snow White and Cinderella on display at D23? The books that you see in the beginning of the movie that flip open. They had that, Cinderella.
no.
I haven't seen that.
I remember seeing
those were on display
I think
too.
at the Walt Disney Family Museum, but I don't remember ever seeing them at an expo.
Yeah, those are on display too.
Or was it at the museum? I remember seeing them as part of something, but I don't think they were at the expo.
No.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
It geeks you out.
did they now was it strictly archive stuff, or did they have anything from collectors that was on display and credited to somebody else, and then they just was just like, we wish we had this in the archive?
I think, as far as I understood, I think it was all Disney Archive. There wasn't something that they wish they had. You know what? I missed a big thing that I love. I'm so mad at myself. We talk about full-on costume and props. They have the Rocketeer. The full suit and the rocket pack, and that is a big time love of mine. I just skipped over it, sorry, but
Virtual
once
high
you said
five,
it, I was
brother.
like,
Virtual-
yes, dude. When they play that music in Tomorrowland, well, they used to.
Yeah.
They used to play it. Oh, just heart, just palpitations. And when I saw it, I stopped, froze, and like I did that moment of like just I heard, like I talked about, I heard the music in my mind, and like something inside of me got like that's it. That's the real thing. So,
Dude, I remember one time we had gone to Joe's Italian Ice, just right down the street from Disneyland, and we were all sitting there, and Melissa was telling us about, what she chooses and blah, 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 and we're sitting there, and I'm, like, looking at this big old mural that they have on the side, and I remember losing it like I was a little kid when I saw the tiny little Rocketeer doll that they have mounted to the side of the building as part of the mural. Dude, it was... I can't even describe it. It just made me all warm and fuzzy inside. I love that movie.
yeah, that was a big seller for me. I just kind of breezed over. I apologize because I was just like, when you talked about like pieces that you wish, like you kind of mentioned if they wish they had it, they were all archives, but I was like, I wish I could have that. That's the first thing I thought when you said it. If I wish I could have something from it, that if you were going to ask me, it's that. Even though it's like, I would never fit in that unless I like decided to never eat bread again. But I thought it was so cool, and it just brought back so much childhood memories for me to see that one prop. It's really what it was.
That
it's
is
so
awesome,
cool,
dude.
so cool.
I love it.
If you get a chance and you're listening this at the time, I definitely encourage you. They did a good job. You could buy tickets online to get a time slot that are available. Myself, I kept a good eye on it, and I just decided to go like when I showed up, buy a ticket, and that worked out for me. So hopefully, I think it's a really great archive set that kind of guides you through. And there's a virtual tour they offer with it, I believe, if you want to use it. But I think honestly, when you're walking through there, you don't. If you're one of the group that like you're listening to this, I don't know if you need it so much. And then they do have placards to read off of, but you immediately geek out.
Now, did the virtual tour provide any kind of audio supplement to add, kind of like what they do in the Walking Walt's Footsteps sort of thing, where you're kind of listening to it?
I don't think there was audio. I think it was more of just a
visual,
standard visual listing to you, like a better printout of what you were seeing on the placard.
Oh,
if you wanted
okay,
to,
got it.
Something
I mean,
like
it's
that.
still not
like you need
bad.
a better view.
Was
Right,
it restricted
not
to
bad.
just the museum, or could you watch it like when you got home to relive your experience?
I think you could watch it when you got home.
Oh,
that was
good.
Something. I haven't tried it, but I think that's something you could look at again.
Right
so
on.
That's pretty cool.
If I can't make it down there, which I know sadly by the time it ends, I won't be able to make it down to see it, and I really wanted to. I'm wondering if I can buy the ticket and just get the virtual one, so that I can at least see the virtual version of it.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna call him tomorrow. I gotta figure out if I could do this. Because I'm sure that people that are outside of the state that can't come in and that wanted to see it, that's a really good option for them.
Or you can watch my video coming up next
We
week.
could also watch your video, yeah. Come on, Larry, you got to get on the video.
But it won't have the placards.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of being able to walk through those things. The last time that we got a chance to go was when Richard Kraft had his auction. That's from Disneyland exhibit that was going on a few years back. Van Eaton Galleries holds these type of auctions quite frequently. We just had one about a month ago.
Right.
And there's always things that I would want. I mean, if we're putting Post-it notes on the things that we want, I don't know if I want to... No, scratch that. I know. I want Walt's desk. I was going to say the Hitchhiking Ghosts, but I want Walt's desk. But if that's already taken by John Stamos, then I'll settle for the Hitchhiking Ghosts. I'm fine with that. But John, if you want to let me borrow Walt's desk, I'm totally cool with it. Anything that you guys would want to keep, Mel and Andrew? I mean, I know you haven't seen the exhibit, but anything that you know of that's been a part of any of the expo exhibits, or maybe this one, that you just think to yourself, boom, that's it. That's what immediately comes to mind, the way that Larry put a Post-it on the Rocketeer outfit.
If I had to put a Post-it, okay, so we're going to go back to the expo in 2015, and I would put a Post-it on the original dragon head from
knew you were going to
Fantasmic.
say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Wow.
Because
That
they
is
had
cool.
that and the monkeys. I'm like, the dragon head.
I remember that
It
part
was
of the exhibit.
so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I posted
So
that on
it's like
Instagram at some point, too.
It's like the size of a small car.
It was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on top of a car. Boom.
There you go. Out of my way.
Boom. I like how you make it boom.
Hood ornament Maleficent style.
Right?
Ooh, talk about Coupe de Ville at that point. Jeez. I mean, Prop Culture was such a fantastic series on Disney Plus. I don't think they've greenlit a second season. I know we've all talked about it,
No.
but I know we had this whole conversation about it this last week on our text chain, and I think the idea came up that, you know, if they had the opportunity to do a season 2 and they've exhausted what they want to show as part of the archives because they want to keep these types of exhibits going, they don't want to give too much away, well, then why not highlight super Disney fans and their collections, right? Like guys like John Stamos and guys like
That'd be
Richard
so
Kraft.
good.
And, you know, there's so many. I forgot their name, but there's a super fan that recently sold their house, and they had all sorts of memorabilia.
Yeah.
Their name is escaping me right now. If I remember, I'll put it on the Discord server, but I'll post it somewhere. But man, their house is an exhibit all on their own. They had all the railroad signs. They had different figures. They had posters from original attractions, and it's like my head was spinning when I remember seeing the video that they originally highlighted them a few years back. Maybe like 2017 is when I remember watching that video. If I find it, I'll put it in the blog post as well. Andrew, do you remember their name by any chance?
I don't, but I remember seeing it on like Zillow or something.
Yeah.
Everybody's because they were selling their house, and the photos were just. It was nuts.
Right?
It was wild. There's the bathroom, everything was just
The
wall
Mickey
to
Lake
wall.
inside the
It
room.
was everything was, just how I would want it.
I know. Yeah.
I wish I could have afforded the $5 million house or however much it was going for at the time.
Was that what you'd put a note on, Andrew? Well,
Is
it
that
was
your
not
post-it,
displayed,
the
but
entire house?
Is that your
the
post-it?
whole house?
There
The
you
whole
go.
house. That's a good post-it.
That might be good. If it had to be from the archives, I'd probably pick that rubber Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
That or the Roger Rabbit, the blinds, where he's gone through the blinds. I
Oh,
know that
yeah.
wasn't I don't think that was in the Bowers exhibit, but it's been at D23 a couple times.
Yeah.
And yeah, those two things are fantastic. I know it was highlighted in Prop Culture, I believe.
Nice.
It was. Yeah.
So much good stuff. All right. Well, if you had an opportunity to go to the Bowers Museum for this Disneyland Archives exhibit, we'd love to hear your thoughts and what your favorite piece was when visiting the exhibit. Again, you can connect with us over on Discord or on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter accounts. Just search for Podketeers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the exhibit. That's it. I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Any final words?
Take heed. Woke Andrew up.
I'm trying to find that guy's name. I found an article about the house, but I don't know whose house it is.
Yeah, I just recently was talking about him with somebody too.
He's like a record executive or something? I
Yes.
think something like that.
Watch, we're going to stop recording and be like, that's his name!
Always happens.
Who knows?
All right, that's where we're going to leave it. I want to remember, and it'll be too late for this, but we'll put it in the blog post, and then you can go to the blog post and check it all out there. Podketeers.com/365. Larry, do you think the vlog will be ready by then, or will we end up putting it in next week's blog post?
I could get it ready by then. We could do it.
All right. Well, either way, we'll either have Larry's video in the blog post and or a link to his YouTube channel so that you can subscribe. Make sure that you hit that bell icon for notifications when the video does go up or any other videos go up. While you're at it, head over to youtube.com/podketeers. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Or as they say, smash that subscribe. Smash that bell so that you get...
Smash it all.
Smash it all. Hulk smash the heck out of all of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
And that's going to wrap it up.
It's 365. You can listen to an episode one a day.
Yeah.
Unless it's leap year, then you got to wait
boy.
another week.
Wait, you gotta wait till next
Yeah.
week. But yeah.
Yay!
Hooray!
All right, that's going to wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Snakes. I hate snakes.
Why'd you have to bring that up?